Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're cracking open a topic that's probably in your kitchen right now: eggs.
Definitely. A staple for so many people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you've been curious about their nutritional value, all the different types. And we've actually got this fantastic PDF source here. It really goes deep.
Yeah, it covers everything from like ancient history through to the nitty-gritty nutritional details and the health benefits.
So our mission today, basically, figure out if the humble egg really is this, nutritional powerhouse people say it is.
Right. We want to unpack what makes this seemingly simple food actually surprisingly complex
Mm-hmm.
and, beneficial.
Think of this as us doing the legwork, sifting through the info.
To bring you the key stuff, the
Uh-huh.
interesting bits, your shortcut to being properly informed about eggs.
So by the end of this, we hope to answer those key questions like, are eggs really that good for you?
Mm.
And what is the actual difference between free range, cage free, all that stuff you see? Does it matter?
Yeah, nutritionally or ethically or both.
Right. And the specific nutrients, what do they do? And are there any health things to watch out for? Okay, let's get into it.
Let's do it. And, it's interesting to start by remembering eggs aren't like a new fad.
Oh, definitely not.
Our source calls them nature's original superfood.
Hmm.
People have eaten them forever, basically.
Yeah.
It's just the science catching up now to understand why they're so good.
It is pretty amazing. I mean, this little package,
Mhm.
it's got 13 essential vitamins and minerals.
Yeah, the PDF really emphasizes that. Significant amounts of stuff your body needs daily.
Okay, and protein, that's always a big one with eggs.
Huge. A single large egg has about 6.3 grams. High quality protein, too.
And it's split between the white and the yolk, right?
Yeah. Interestingly, about 60% is in the white. But the yolk has the rest, plus all those healthy fats, the vitamins, minerals, antioxidants.
So you really need both.
Absolutely. It's a team effort. You can't just eat the whites and expect all the benefits.
And the quality of that protein. The source mentions it's a complete protein.
Yes, meaning it has all 9 essential amino acids, the ones your body can't make itself.
Which is crucial.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially for muscle repair, growth, just overall health. And the bioavailability is apparently exceptional.
Bioavailability, meaning how well your body can actually use it.
Exactly. Think of it like how easy it is to unlock and use those nutrients. Eggs are like a master key for getting that protein absorbed. It's not just how much is in there, but how much you get out of it.
Got it. That's a key point.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the basic nutritional punch. But you mentioned types of eggs.
Okay.
The grocery aisle is confusing.
It really is. So many labels.
Let's start with free range. What does that actually mean? Our source says hens get access to the outdoors.
Right. They're allowed access. But here's the catch. Access can mean different things.
Yeah. So not necessarily rolling green hills.
Not always, no. The amount of time, the quality of the outdoor space,
Okay.
it varies a lot.
Right.
Depends on the farm and the specific certification.
So the label isn't a guarantee of a hen living its best life outdoors 24/7.
Pretty much. Usually they're in barns or big open spaces,
Yeah.
but with an option to go outside. The key difference is that option exists.
Okay. And nutritionally, does that outdoor access make a difference?
It can, because they might forage more, eat bugs, greens, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
A more varied diet.
All right.
So their eggs can potentially be richer in things like omega-3s, vitamins A and D, maybe more antioxidants like lutein and zeaxanthin. Those things good for eye health.
So opting for free range might give you a bit of a nutrient boost?
It's a potential benefit, yeah.
Yeah.
Simple way to maybe get a little extra goodness.
Okay. What about cage-free then? They seem really common now.
Cage-free means the hens aren't in those traditional small battery cages. They're housed indoors, but in larger open spaces.
So they can move around more.
Yeah, more room to walk, spread their wings, engage in more natural behaviors. But crucially, they're usually still indoors. No guaranteed outdoor access, like free range.
Okay. So better conditions than caged, but not necessarily outside.
Exactly. It's an improvement in welfare, definitely.
And the nutritional side for cage-free, is it much different from standard caged eggs?
Generally, the differences are more subtle than with free range. They might have slightly higher levels of some nutrients, maybe as they move more, maybe slightly better feed within the barn.
Mm.
But the PDF suggests the nutritional gap between cage-free and conventional caged eggs is usually smaller than the gap between free-range and caged.
So cage-free is more about hen welfare than a big nutritional jump for us.
Often, yes. That tends to be the primary driver for choosing cage-free.
Okay, that clarifies things. Now, grades. Grade A. I see that all the time. What's that about?
Grade A, in the U.S. anyway, is mostly about quality and appearance.
Ah, aesthetics.
Yeah, pretty much. Condition the shell clean, unbroken. The white should be thick and clear. The yolk firm and centered. Basically, a good-looking, fresh egg for everyday cooking.
So it doesn't really tell you about how the hen was raised or the specific nutrient levels?
Not directly, no. It's a quality standard. There are other grades, too, mentioned in the source.
Like AA.
Right, grade AA is the top tier. Very firm whites, really high yolks.
Okay.
Ideal if you're, say, frying or poaching and want it to look perfect.
Okay.
Then there's grade B thinner whites, maybe slight shell issues, usually end up in liquid egg products or used for processing where looks don't matter.
Got it. So grade is appearance, not necessarily nutrition or farming practice. Good distinction. What about pasteurized eggs?
Okay, so pasteurized eggs are heat treated. Gently heated just enough to kill harmful bacteria like salmonella, but without actually cooking the egg.
Right, for safety.
Exactly. Our source highlights this is really important for people at higher risk, pregnant women, young kids, elderly, anyone with a weaker immune system.
Makes sense.
And also useful for recipes using raw or lightly cooked eggs, like homemade mayo or hollandaise. Adds that safety layer.
But does the heating process affect the egg at all? Any downsides?
There can be minor things. The PDF mentions potential slight nutrient degradation, heat-sensitive vitamins like A, D, some B vitamins might be reduced a little.
Okay, noticeable.
Probably not dramatically compared to cooking, but it's a possibility. Some people also notice a subtle change in taste or texture, maybe a tiny bit less richness, or the white might be slightly runnier.
Hmm.
There's also a theoretical slight reduction in protein bioavailability because the heat can affect the protein structure, but again, likely minor.
Hmm.
And crucially, pasteurization doesn't make them totally contamination-proof if you mishandle them after opening.
Right, safe handling is always key.
Uh-huh.
Okay, moving on. Organic eggs, they usually cost more. What's the deal?
Organic means the hens are raised under really strict standards. No synthetic pesticides or herbicides in their feed.
Okay.
Feed has to be 100% organic, non-GMO, no animal byproducts. Plus, they must have outdoor access and usually more space than standard free range. The whole system.
Wow, that sounds quite regulated. Does it translate into big nutritional differences?
Our source suggests they can have slightly higher levels of some good stuff, omega-3s, maybe vitamin E, antioxidants, likely due to the richer feed and foraging.
But maybe not always a huge jump compared to, say, good free range.
Potentially, yeah. The difference might not always be massive. For many people buying organic, it's also about supporting those specific farming practices, the environmental aspect.
Got it. Now, omega-3 enriched eggs, those seem pretty direct.
They are. Hens are fed a special diet, things like flaxseed, fish oil, algae, specifically to boost the omega-3 levels in the eggs.
And omega-3s are good for heart, brain.
Exactly. Heart health, brain function, reducing inflammation.
Yeah.
These eggs are a really good way to increase your intake, especially if you don't eat a lot of fatty fish.
How much are we talking?
Typically around 100 to 200 milligrams per egg. Regular eggs only have trace amounts, so it's a significant boost.
That could be really useful for a lot of people. Okay, what about vegetarian-fed eggs? That label always confuses me. Aren't chickens naturally omnivores?
They are. That's the interesting thing. Vegetarian fed means the hen's diet is strictly plant-based. No animal byproducts, no insects they might naturally eat if foraging. They're usually raised in cage-free or free-range systems, but the key is that 100% plant-based feed. Grains, soy, veggies, stuff like that.
And nutritionally, does it change things?
It can, depending on the specific feed ingredients, like if they add flaxseed, they might have higher omega-3s. Some studies suggest maybe lower cholesterol too. It just shows again how much the hen's diet impacts the final egg.
Definitely a recurring theme. Okay, nearly there with the types. Duck eggs. Seen those around sometimes.
Yeah, duck eggs are bigger and richer tasting.
Why richer?
Higher fat content in the yolk. They also have a thicker shell, which some bakers like. Nutritionally, they pack a bit more punch, higher in fat, protein, often more omega-3s, B12, iron, selenium, compared to a chicken egg of similar size.
Yeah.
Well, they're bigger anyway.
So a bit of a nutrient boost there, plus a different flavor.
Exactly.
And finally, bantam eggs. The tiny ones.
Right, from bantam chickens, the miniature breeds, they're small, cute, proportionally thicker shell, nutritionally. They're basically just mini chicken eggs.
Same stuff, just less of it.
Precisely. Same nutrients, just smaller amounts. More of a novelty or for specific recipes, maybe.
Wow, okay. That covers the landscape pretty well. So let's dive back into the nutritional composition across the board. We hit protein hard, but what about the fats? Eggs used to get such a bad rap for fat and cholesterol.
They really did. But yeah, let's break it down. A large egg has about 5 grams of fat, mostly in the yolk, right? Like 4.5 grams or so.
And the white is pretty much fat-free.
Right. But the type of fat in the yolk is important. You've got healthy monounsaturated fats, good for the heart. You've got polyunsaturated fats, including those omega-3s, especially in the enriched ones.
Okay.
There is some saturated fat, about 1.5 grams, which is moderate. And then the cholesterol, around 186 milligrams, all in the yolk.
Which was the big scare factor for years.
Exactly. But current science, and our source agrees, suggests that for most people, the cholesterol you eat in food like eggs doesn't really move the needle much on your blood cholesterol levels.
So eggs can be part of a heart-healthy diet for most folks.
In moderation, absolutely. The focus has shifted more towards limiting saturated and trans fats rather than dietary cholesterol itself.
That's a really important clarification. Okay, what about carbohydrates?
Minimal, like really low, about zero point 0.6 grams per large egg, mostly tiny amounts of simple sugars, and importantly, no fiber.
So good for low-carb diets.
Definitely. Fits very well into keto or low-carb approaches.
Okay, so mainly protein and healthy fats. Now, the vitamins, you said 13 essential ones. That's impressive.
It really is. Now, let's
Yeah.
run through some key ones. Vitamin A, great for vision, skin, immune system.
Mm.
Eggs are a decent source.
Okay.
Vitamin D, crucial for bones, calcium absorption, immunity. Eggs are one of the few food sources, especially if the hens get sunlight or enriched feed.
Good point. Not many foods have vitamin D naturally.
Right. Then there's vitamin E, a key antioxidant protecting your cells, and a bit of vitamin K for blood clotting and bones.
And the B vitamins, they're always talked about for energy.
Absolutely central. Eggs are good for several. Vitamin B2, riboflavin, lots of that. Really important for energy metabolism. Vitamin B12, cobalamin, vital for nerve function, making red blood cells. Eggs are a great source, especially for vegetarians who might not get much otherwise.
Good source for vegetarians, yeah.
They also provide folate, B9, needed for DNA stuff, cell growth, and pantothenic acid, B5, for metabolism. It's a real B vitamin bundle.
Seriously, like a natural multivitamin? What about the minerals?
Good range there, too. You get iron, especially the heme iron, which is easily absorbed, crucial for carrying oxygen.
Okay.
Phosphorus, working with calcium for bones and teeth, also energy, significant amounts. A bit of potassium for blood pressure, fluid balance. Selenium is a big one in eggs. Powerful antioxidant, important for thyroid health, immunity, and some zinc, too, for immune function, wound healing.
It just keeps getting better. Now, our source highlights some other interesting compounds. Choline. What's the story there?
Choline is super important. It's an essential nutrient often grouped with B vitamins. Egg yolks are one of the best dietary sources, period.
And what does it do?
A lot. Crucial for brain health. It's a building block for acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter involved in memory, mood, muscle control, learning.
Wow.
Also vital for liver function, helps transport fats. And it's part of our cell membranes. Really, really key, especially during pregnancy, for fetal brain development.
That sounds fundamental. Okay, what about those carotenoids, lutein and zeaxanthin? We mentioned them for eye health with free-range eggs.
Yes. These are powerful antioxidants found in the yolk. They literally accumulate in your retina, in the macula.
Like internal sunglasses.
That's a great way to put it. They help filter damaging blue light and protect against oxidative stress. This can lower the risk of macular degeneration and cataracts if you age.
And the fat in the yolk helps you absorb them.
Exactly. Because they're fat soluble, the yolk's fat content makes them much more bioavailable than from some plant sources. So eating the whole egg is key for eye benefits.
Makes sense. Eat the yolk. Okay, essential amino acids. We covered that they make egg protein complete. Can you just recap why they're so vital?
Sure. They're essential because our bodies can't make them. We have to get them from food. Eggs provide all 9 in good amounts.
And they're used for?
Building blocks for everything. Protein synthesis, muscle repair, making enzymes, hormones, immune cells. Pretty much fundamental to how our body functions and rebuilds itself.
Right, the absolute basics of structure and function. Okay, lecithin. I know it's an emulsifier, helps mix oil and water.
It is, yeah. It's a phospholipid, contains choline, found in the yolk, helps digest fats. But it's also part of cell membranes, involved in cell signaling. And because it's a source of choline, it contributes to brain health, too. Some research hints it might help with cholesterol management, but that's less clear-cut.
So more than just a food additive, what about other phospholipids and sphingomyelin mentioned in the PDF? Sounds complex.
They are complex, but fundamental. Phospholipids, including lecithin, are the main structure of all our cell membranes, like the skin of the cell controlling what goes in and out. Sphingomyelin is a specific type, really important in the brain and nervous system.
How?
It's a major component of the myelin sheath, That's the insulating layer around nerve fibers, like insulation on a wire. It helps nerve signals travel fast and efficiently. Crucial for cognitive function, learning, memory.
Fascinating. The micro details are amazing. Lastly, omega-3 fatty acids. We touched on enriched eggs, but just summarize their importance.
Omega-3s are essential polyunsaturated fats. Key benefits for heart health rhythm, blood pressure, triglycerides, brain health development, function, and reducing inflammation throughout the body.
And regular eggs have some, but enriched have more.
Right, regular eggs have some ALA, a type of omega-3. Enriched eggs have much higher levels, often including EPA and DHA, the types found in fish oil that have the most well-documented benefits, especially for heart and brain. Great option if you don't eat fish regularly.
Okay, that's an incredibly detailed look at what's in an egg. Now let's connect the dots. How does all this translate into specific health benefits for us?
Right, the so what factor. Let's start with muscle growth and repair. Pretty obvious link here.
High quality, complete protein.
Exactly. With all those essential amino acids, particularly leucine, which is like a trigger for muscle protein synthesis. Great for athletes, great for older adults trying to maintain muscle mass, great for anyone active.
Makes sense. And eye health.
That's the lutein and zeaxanthin we talked about. Concentrated in the yolk, protect against macular degeneration, cataracts. Simple dietary way to support long-term vision.
Got it. Brain health seems like a big one too with the choline.
Huge. Choline is vital for memory, learning, mood, crucial during fetal development, and may help protect against cognitive decline later in life. Eggs are just such an easy, rich source.
Okay. And the big one, heart health. Reassure us again.
Okay, so the omega-3s in enriched eggs are definitely beneficial, anti-inflammatory, help lipid profiles. For most people, moderate egg intake doesn't raise harmful cholesterol levels. The dietary cholesterol impact is minimal for most. Plus, things like lecithin might even help fat metabolism. So, yes, eggs can absolutely fit into a heart-healthy diet.
Good to hear. What about weight management? Seems counterintuitive, maybe.
Not really, because of the protein. Protein is highly satiating.
Keeps you full longer.
Right. Eat eggs for breakfast, you tend to feel fuller, maybe eat fewer calories later in the day. Studies back this up. Plus, they're nutrient-dense for relatively few calories. Helps regulate blood sugar, too.
Feeling full definitely helps. Okay, bone health.
That's the vitamin D and phosphorus combo. They work together for calcium absorption, building strong bones and teeth. Helps maintain bone density, reduce osteoporosis risk.
And even skin health.
Yeah, the vitamin A helps with cell turnover, skin elasticity. And biotin, another B vitamin in eggs, is important for healthy skin cells, preventing dryness.
What about immunity? How do eggs help our immune function?
Key nutrients there are vitamin B12 for red blood cell production, and selenium, that powerful antioxidant that also helps regulate immune responses. Contributes to a well-functioning system.
And appearance stuff, healthy hair and nails.
Biotin again. It's essential for producing keratin, the protein that makes up hair and nails. Plus, the high-quality protein provides the building blocks. So yeah, helps with strength and growth.
Wow, they really cover a lot of bases. Even gut health.
Couple of links there. The lecithin helps emulsify fats for digestion. The healthy fats support the gut lining integrity. And they support bile production, which is needed for digestion.
Okay. And finally, that interesting point about anti-cancer potential. Remembering the disclaimer.
Absolutely. Eggs are not a cure or treatment.
Right.
But some components are being studied. The antioxidants, lutein and zeaxanthin, protect cells from damage. Choline plays roles in cell metabolism and structure. Omega-3s are anti-inflammatory. These factors might play protective roles, but its ongoing research shows the potential complexity.
Definitely an area to watch. Okay, that's a ton of benefit. Maybe a super quick look at the egg's anatomy would help visualize where all this stuff is.
Sure. You've got the yolk in the middle. That's the nutrient powerhouse fats, vitamins A, D, K, choline, lutein, zeaxanthin, most of minerals. Yolk color varies with diet, not necessarily nutrition. It's held in the vitelline membrane.
Okay.
Then surrounding it is the egg white, or albumin. Mostly water and protein, different layers, thin, thick, thin. And those stringy bits, the chalaza, anchoring the yolk.
Ah, I always wondered what those were.
Yeah, they keep the yolk centered. The white has loads of protein, like ovalbumin, very little fat, low calories, but does have some B vitamins, like riboflavin, and minerals like potassium, selenium.
So yolk fats, fat-soluble vitamins, choline, minerals, white mostly protein, water, some B vitamins, minerals, clear difference.
Exactly. Fat content is the biggest differentiator. Calorie difference, too. Nutrient profiles complement each other.
Right. So knowing all this, what are some smart ways to cook eggs to keep them healthy and maximize nutrition?
Good question. Cooking method can matter a bit. Boiling hard or soft is great. No added fat, retains nutrients well.
Simple and effective.
Poaching too. Cook gently in water, no fat needed, keeps flavor and nutrients.
Okay. What about scrambling? People often add milk or butter.
You can make scrambled eggs healthier. Use a non-stick pan, minimal healthy oil like olive oil, or even just a splash of water or low-fat milk instead of cream or butter. Still creamy, less added fat.
Good tip.
And an egg white omelet is obviously lower in fat and calories, still high protein, loaded up with veggies for extra nutrients and fiber.
Any other general tips?
Yeah, definitely use non-stick pans to minimize added fats. If it fits your budget and values, choosing organic or free-range might offer those slight nutritional edges. Season with herbs, spices, pepper instead of tons of salt. And always add veggies. Makes any egg dish more balanced and nutritious.
Great practical advice. This has been, wow, a really thorough deep dive.
Definitely covered a lot of ground.
So to quickly recap the big picture,
Yeah.
eggs, yes, pretty much a nutritional powerhouse. High quality protein, loads of essential vitamins, minerals, plus those beneficial extras like choline, lutein, omega-3s.
Absolutely. And the type of egg, as we saw, can make subtle differences, both nutritionally and in terms of how the hens are raised. Lots to consider there.
They're incredibly versatile, nutrient dense, just a really valuable food.
Agreed. So much more than just breakfast.
So here's a final thought for everyone listening. Considering everything we've unpacked, the versatility, the nutrient density, how could you maybe strategically use eggs in your routine to really unlock those benefits for your own health and well-being?
Yeah. And what other questions does this raise for you personally, based on your diet, your goals?
Yeah.
Definitely food for thought.
Indeed. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the amazing egg.